Welcome to episode 19 of Meanwhile at the Castle. It's July 20th and we're coming here to you today from Salt Lake City, Utah. And I'm Emily. You can find me on Ravelry and Instagram as Salt City Knits.
And I'm Deborah. You can find me on Instagram as Indigo Chicken Dolls and on Ravelry and Etsy as Indigo Chicken.
And it's been almost a month since we recorded last, so it's good to be back. It's been a kind of a crazy summer as usual.
For everybody. Everybody
yeah,
has
absolutely.
crazy summers.
So what's been going on with you lately?
Well, I think we've both had kind of a shared major event with one of our dear friends, and that overshadows everything that we've been doing. I think everything else that's going on. So why don't you tell what happened?
Yeah, on the 4th of July, we had a barbecue at our house and had a big party, and our friends, the Nielsen's, were going to be coming and joining us, but they had some sick kids, and so decided to stay home. And we found out about, I don't know, 9 o'clock at night that their house had burned down. Somebody else had been doing fireworks, and it caught their back deck on fire, which caught a propane tank on fire. And anyway, they have lost everything. Their home is a total loss, and all of their possessions. They were able to save their 2 cars and
all of their family.
Everybody is safe. Yes, everybody is safe. Absolutely, they're all safe. Miraculously, they are all safe, because it could have been so much worse. I mean, there was an explosion. But, you know, the home and all their possessions are a total loss. And so
we've been working on their relief efforts, the emergency, initial week to 2 weeks of trying to help them to be all right. And it's rough. They're doing amazing.
They're amazing. Yeah. They're so amazing. I mean, every time you talk to them, they're just so positive, and we've been able to joke around and laugh, and we're making fire jokes.
One of their favorite jokes is, "Oh, I used to have one of those."
I know. So they just have such a good attitude. Well, we're here, we're safe. Krista said that in her mind, it's actually easier to have had it be a total loss than to have to sift through one by one and cull out things that might be salvageable from things that aren't, and try to restore anyway.
It's already an emotionally draining thing, and physically, and that would just make it so much harder. I never would have thought about that.
I wouldn't
aspect
either.
Of it.
But she said she's grateful that if it had to happen, that it was a complete loss, a total, just a reset button on everything. But anyway, they're so amazing. And to think that, I mean, we have been trying to help, but what we've been going through compared to what they're dealing with, is zero.
No, so many people. So, it's because we're part of a really, really great community. And it's really surprised a lot of their neighbors in how much everybody has pulled together. So it's just wonderful to see that. And I just keep saying it's really hard. I think sometimes we get really downtrodden often because there's just a lot of hard things in life. But it helps me to see that there's so much more beauty and good.
There really
that
is.
People are generally good. Despite the fact that somebody broke into my car and stole my daughter's toys from our yard. Sorry.
Oh my word.
My daughter is selling a Barbie house and some of her Barbie toys because she really wanted something else, and so she was going to sell that. But she loves them, and it was really emotionally hard for her to decide that she was going to sell it. But somebody drove by and stole. They didn't steal the Barbie house, but her toys, and she was devastated. I gave her the money that she would have earned for it, but it almost didn't matter to her because she was so upset that somebody would have just, taken candy from a baby. I mean, come on.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
but people are fundamentally good.
In general, people are just really good, They are. And we have a couple of things we wanted to share today that demonstrates that a bit. So,
well, and I think that's so true. To see, especially when there's a tragedy, that everybody wants to help, and everybody is really just eager to be of assistance, and so that's such a wonderful thing to see.
That's where everybody's prejudices go out the window. Everybody's ideas of what is good or not, of how people should believe with political beliefs and religious and whatever. It doesn't matter. People just pull together. Yeah. And that's great.
It is wonderful. So yes, we're plugging ahead, and what's the word? Forging ahead. That's the word. We're forging ahead. And so we're gonna spend some time talking about happy, wonderful things,
lighthearted things.
Oh.
First of all, our giveaway.
This is exciting.
We have a pattern giveaway. It's the Glacier Ice Shawl by Clara Zulumanova. Emily test knit this shawl a month.
It was in March,
ago.
April. I think April. It was in April.
Somewhere around there. And it was beautiful. I'll put a
love
picture of her shawl up here so you can see the lovely shawl if you don't remember it from a few episodes ago. But we're giving away this pattern that was donated by Clara. And on Instagram, she's Clara's Creations.
With K's, yeah. So Clara and Creations.
Are both K's, which is down on the screen below.
Oh, perfect.
So, we have already pulled for our winner.
Yes.
And our winner is...
It's number 9, and it looks like it's Jonna Jacobs on Ravelry. And she posted about, we asked everybody to share kind of what their favorite shawl is they've ever knit, or if they want to knit a shawl and they haven't in the past, what pattern they're looking at. And she shared Mini Madness was her favorite, and shared a really awesome picture of that she had made for a friend, and she said she's working on another one for herself. So that's beautiful. So Jonna Jacobs, if you'll get in contact with me, Salt City Knits on Ravelry, then I will get get your information to Clara, and she will get your pattern to you, and you'll be able to knit that beautiful Glacier Ice shawl.
Yeah, it is really pretty.
It is very lovely. Pretty.
Okay.
So let's talk some knitting.
Yes. Do you have some finished objects, Emily?
Yes, I do.
Okay, why don't you start with yours while I'm putting
I'm excited to talk about knitting. Sometimes it feels like all I talk about are businessy type things. So
yes, this is. I think that's why we like knitting podcasts, because it's just a break from everything else.
It's a breath of fresh air. So my first finished object are these pair of socks, which I can't remember what number they are again. Was this 8? This was number 8. So these are a pair of socks that I knit for me, and they are knit from Baron Vola yarns in the Lucid Dream colorway. And the reason I'm showing you it like this is here is the first sock. Now this is all one skein of yarn. And now look at the second sock. They look completely different. I mean, they're definitely the same colors.
Well, they do.
But this one is very striped.
Yeah, that one is.
And the colors are more contrasting, where this one, the colors are a little bit more blended and kind of mushed together. So I thought that was very interesting, because I don't even think they look like a matching pair. Not that I have a problem with that, because I'm fine with that, and they're for me, and so they're fun. But I was kind of surprised just by how different they are.
That happens. I know when dyeing yarn that you add the dye, and in the dye pot it'll strike differently. Yeah. I don't know. It's kind of crazy.
Usually, though, I kind of expect that. I mean, you can expect some pooling or flashing and things like that. But this one looks like almost like it was dyed in a long strand, like from one end to the other, because it's so much of a difference in the color. The tones of the colors actually change, from the beginning of this sock all the way down to this sock and all the way down. Yeah. It's kind of almost like I got two distinct. So it's not a complaint. I just think it's interesting.
Well, I still think it looks like a pair. If you were to wear them together, I'd be like, that's a pair of socks.
Well, that's good. So
I know a lot of people.
That way I know you won't be judging me when I wear these and going.
Maybe
Emily.
not about the socks, but.
Okay, good to know.
I secretly judge you when you go, no.
I don't think it's much of a secret.
It's not so secret. Wow.
I'm teasing. I'm totally joking. So yes, there's my number 8 pair for the year.
All right.
So that's exciting.
You're on a roll.
Yes.
You're on a roll. Okay, my number 8 pair. Wait, did I show these?
I don't think you did.
No, they weren't finished. They weren't finished. I feel like I've shown them a million times.
It's been a while since we've podcasted.
That's probably why. So anyways, these are my daughter's Lorax socks. Look
how bright they are on the screen. Love it.
So
they're so fun.
These were from Vesper Sock Yarn. Actually, it's Knitterly Things. I can't remember. Knitterly Things, Vesper Sock Yarn, Rainbow of the Month Club. And this one was called... I forgot. It's going to be on the bottom sometime in April. I think that's what it's called. Sometime in April. That's what it's called. And it's just a little mock kind of cable or braid stitch that I did 3 places, 1, 2, and 3 down the front of the sock. And I put directions for this up on our website, Meanwhile at the Castle, which I didn't tell about at the beginning, that we have meanwhileatthecastle.com.
Oh, that's right.
We also have a Ravelry group, Meanwhile at the Castle.
I always forget to mention those 2 things. You can find our show notes at meanwhileatthecastle.com.
So I finished those, and my daughter actually has already worn them 2 or 3 times, and they haven't been washed, but they look good.
They're beautiful.
So she's really, really happy about these. So happy that she was wearing them in 104-degree weather.
Oh my gracious.
Take the socks off. It is too... I'm hot watching you wear those.
It has been so hot lately.
Yes.
And then, Utah, we're used to hot summers, but one thing that people always say, it's a dry heat. It's not humid here. It's we live in a desert. It's not a humid place. But the last few days it has been, because we've been getting summer storms in the evenings every day. And so all day it's been humid for us,
so
as well as hot.
And humidity makes it just
gracious.
Unbearable.
It is really, really hot.
Yeah.
And my poor husband works in a place that doesn't have air conditioning, and
that's my daughter.
I'm starting to just get sweaty thinking about it.
Yeah, Claire, my daughter, this is her last day working this is the place, Heritage Park. She just,
too hot.
It is so hot. She has to wear so many layers and wool socks.
Because she's dressed like a pioneer, right?
And she's out in the heat, and some of the homes, there's one day she said that it was 109 degrees on their thermometer in there. And then she has all of those layers on, and she's baking over a wood-burning stove. Yeah. So...
Kill me now.
I know.
Just kill me now.
She's like, I can do it, Mom. I can go to work.
Because today's her last day.
I can do it.
Oh, my word.
So, I'm like,
that
it's
girl
only
a
99...
popsicle and a swimsuit.
It's like, it's only 99 degrees today, sweetheart. You'll be okay.
Oh, gracious. It is hot.
So hot that I can't get this yarn to slide through my fingers.
So,
it's sticky.
This is how it always is at this time of the year and in the winter. Everybody who is in the southern hemisphere, they post on Instagram, and I am like, oh, I want to be where you are. Because, when it's January here and we're freezing and haven't seen a blue sky and who knows long and everything's gray. And then in Australia and in South America, people are posting all their pictures of their gardens and their tomatoes, and I'm just, I want to be there. And right now, Hohi Locatelli was posting pictures of their drive to their ski resort, where they're vacationing right now.
Lovely.
And they're driving by a mountain lake with, not the skiing part, but driving by a mountain lake with like snow dusted around, and I'm just like, the grass is greener in one of those moments, isn't it?
Yes, it's definitely like that right now. Yeah, and I don't even have a garden this year. No vegetables.
I have a tomato plant and 1 mini pumpkin plant, like for mini pumpkins.
Oh.
My zucchini plant died.
See, I really want zucchini, and I really want tomatoes. I want tomatoes.
I don't have tomatoes yet. I just have the plant.
Yeah, you have the plant. I feel like everything in the grocery store, even if you buy the organic, the nicest quality, I call them tomatoes.
It's not the same as homegrown tomatoes.
I know, I miss it so much.
Well, and we grew up on homegrown everything.
Yes.
And not only was it homegrown and you got it fresh off the vine in the summer, but then through the rest of the year you ate your vegetables that you had preserved in the fall, the summer and fall. And so canned tomatoes, like when I had to actually start buying tomatoes in a can instead of home bottled tomatoes, it was just really weird. I'm like, oh, I didn't even know they made those.
I had somebody tell me, I didn't know you could make frosting. I thought they thought it only came in a tub down the baking aisle. And I was like, let me show you, dear.
When I found out that there was store-bought frosting, I could not understand it. And I tasted it, and I really can't understand it. Anyway.
Oh, one other thing on this tangent.
I know, we're totally going on a tangent.
We found a new home for our chickens a couple of days ago.
Oh, that's right.
I don't know if you ever do hear the squawking while we're podcasting.
I do.
There's no squawking happening. It's a happy, sad moment.
Can you still be Indigo Chicken if you don't have chickens?
Yes, because I'm a chicken.
Okay, this works.
I don't know. I know our chicken, Indigo. She was mine. She's gone. Oh, actually, my girls tell me she's not. They're all mine. Come on.
And they went to our friends that...
Yeah, one of our friends that have a farm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So they had a little bit of a traumatic moment when my husband was building the coop. We ended up going to have 8-9 stitches on his forehead. He has a lifelong scar there, and when somebody came to get the coop, their son cut his hand, and they slid something or whatever along his hand. Oh, I don't know. Anyways, and he had to go get stitches. So.
I read when they posted about that, and I thought, that coop is bloodthirsty.
The
bloodthirsty.
It requires a blood sacrifice. All owners must offer up a blood sacrifice.
Oh, my word. That's awful that I'm laughing.
Well,
we have already decided I'm slightly morbid, haven't we? Like the things that I find funny.
Okay, another tangent. So
okay.
Catherine, our sister Catherine, she has seen little cotton rabbits. She's not a knitter or anything like that, but
she sees us posting things.
Has seen their seen.
That is the right word.
What happened with my brain? When you say it like 10 times, all of a sudden the word
doesn't sound like a word anymore.
Little Cotton Rabbit's Instagram feed for some reason, I don't know, and she saw that she had like a bowl of little animal knitted heads that she was like making for bodies or whatever, and my sister said, I don't know if it's slightly morbid, that what I really want is just a bowl of those knitted heads for decor in my home.
I kind of do too. I think it's so cute and charming.
She's like, not the bodies, not the clothes, I just want the doll
just
heads.
the little heads in the basket.
Okay,
yes, we're
back
morbid.
on track.
Let's talk about my sweater. Look, it's so cute.
I don't remember the sweater.
That's because I just knit it in a day when we were camping.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, I hadn't bound it off yet. I got to like right here and then had to finish the last little garter stitch. This is, yet again, I have knit so many of these. This is the In3s baby cardigan in a Malabrigo Rios. I love Malabrigo Rios. I would like to be buried, wrapped in Malabrigo Rios in beautiful colors. It is just the sweetest, squishiest, amazing yumminess. It's the best.
Lovely.
It is really the best.
Pretty. Wait, we need
it's
to see
so
the
enjoyable.
Color. Did you hold that up really close?
Here, let me hold it close.
It's
This
so
color
pretty.
is Anniversario. And I have decided that I must make myself a winter sweater coat thingy out of this.
That surprises me, because that seems
dark.
more like me.
It is a dark color for me. However, if you look at it, there's so many different color variations.
Yeah.
It's like on some rows, every stitch seems like it's a different color. And so I think, sorry, Deborah. We don't
it's
really,
okay.
The yarn is so pretty.
Yes, it really should be shown.
Anyway, I wish it would show up even more, but it's really pretty. It's got so much that I feel like it's got a lot of beautiful, and look, see?
Yep, very lovely.
It would look.
We should have matching ones.
Okay.
Because you know how I do everything you do.
Isn't that pretty?
It is lovely.
I love it so much.
This doesn't look as good on me as it does on you. Actually.
Do you know why? It's because it's random. Even though it's dark, I
like knitting with that yarn,
type dark.
Type. Yep.
But this yarn is so delightful to work with. It is just like, as you're knitting with it, you just enjoy every stitch because it feels wonderful.
Yeah, it does.
So I brought it home and I finished it, and I was so glad I was done with it because it smelled so
like
badly of campfire. And you know, campfire when you're camping smells wonderful, but as soon as you get home, it stinks to high heaven. So I was really glad to get that washed and done. But there it is. I love it. Another one for the basket of
so how many
I have no idea. I have lost count.
I want to see this. I want to see your stash.
My stash of future grandchildren items.
It's
probably not quite as big as I might think it is.
Well, you have time.
I got nothing. Yeah, I do. I got nothing else to do too.
I mean, time until
I know.
grandchildren.
I know I have at least 5 or 6 or 8 sweaters that I've knit.
I thought you were going to say years. I'm like, not that.
No. Sweaters that I've knit for future grandchildren. Plus, I've made a quilt and knit a blanket. I showed that blanket.
Yeah.
And
what about any toys?
I haven't knit any toys because usually if I knit a toy, my kids claim them immediately. They're still
How could they
young
claim
enough.
them? They're for the
No
children
toys for
that
you.
that are not on the earth yet. It's like, I always think that when I gather things to give as a gift, and I'll go to great lengths to find just the right thing, and then my kids are like, "Oh, Mom, I want it." No, it's not for you. And then I think,
wait,
really, shouldn't it be for my children first? Like,
you know what? My children
they
get
matter.
all of me all the time. Not all of me, but they get most of me. You know, they've taken my youth. They can leave me the knitting.
Take it. Okay.
Is that so wrong?
Well, I have started
Okay,
lately.
it's warm in here.
I know. We might have to take a break to turn on the AC. It's so loud that you can't hear us. But I have started looking for things. When I go find things for my yarny friends, I start looking for things for my children to surprise them with.
Oh,
Because I
that's
decided
sweet.
that they should have that
You're
as
a
well.
nice mom. Good job being a nice mom.
I should get Mother of the Year award. Just for that. No.
You do. You'll get the award from your children.
All right. So I have finished my second Scrappy by a Shawl because you haven't seen enough of these.
Well, and if you knit one, you have to knit two.
It smells good from blocking.
It does.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, look at, I love your colors. Oh my gosh, Deborah, I love the colors in this one.
So I have a picture that I took of my daughter with this that I will put up for you to see. And
I love this. What is this one?
I'm calling, this one right here is from Sweet Nesting Fibers, and it didn't have a name. I knit
right.
Mom's
Yep.
shawl for Mother's Day on that.
That's so cute.
I'm calling this one my Otter Pop shawl because
I love it.
all of the solid colors I dyed, and they looked like Otter Pops lined up, the mini skeins to me. So
I don't know if anybody outside of the U.S. knows what an otter pop is.
you should look it up.
Otter
Pop.
pops.
It's these popsicle kind of icy treat things in a tube.
It's like a popsicle, but not on a stick.
It's in a plastic
Or an
tube.
ice lolly. Is
Ice lolly? I don't know.
I don't know.
What
Ice
people
pop?
call-
I don't know what these words are. You guys are going to laugh at us. That's okay. We're
It's
used
okay
to it.
because we laugh at you.
Wait. We laugh at us too.
Actually, I don't laugh at you. We secretly want to be all of you.
Mm-hmm.
So
Pretty much.
yeah, you can look up what an Otter Pop is.
They're
but
yummy.
it's, the classic American summer childhood treat, I would say. Or at least
Yes,
for me.
and a perfect way to always have wrappers everywhere in your house during the summer.
And the little cut ends.
This is why I didn't buy them this year.
And my scissors are always sticky. Always sticky in the summer because we'll snip the tops off. And so then the scissors, I have to constantly wash them. I go to cut something and I'm like, what is wrong with this? Okay. But
That's so fun.
That's my second and final finished object, and I really love it. It's going to be perfect for me to wrap up in. Actually, while I was finishing this, it was chilly at night, and so I was wrapping up in it while I was binding it off. So I'm like, it's perfect for summer nights.
That's so fun.
Not these summer nights like right this minute because it doesn't cool
Right
down.
now, all we want is a fan and an ice cream cone at this.
Yeah.
Still in summer.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. I have two more finished objects, and both of them are something really exciting that I really want to share.
Okay, let's see.
So I'm going to start with this one. So I have definitely got the designing bug, and I can't stop. And I have designed this shawl. If you can help me hold it up. This is going to be called Sweet Summer Nights Shawl. Again, when it's late summer, or for those of you who have more temperate weather than we do and you want to put a shawl on at night.
Very pretty.
And so this is the small size of this, and there's going to be a small and a large. So this one is a little bit more like a shawlette. I mean, it's definitely still a shawl size, but it kind of would just barely wrap around me. A little bit more around you.
Except for I don't know if I would wear it this way anyways. But
Right.
But just get an idea of how
Of the sizing. And so really good with a
I like
shawl
the
pin.
depth of it a lot.
Yeah.
If you can see
And
it.
just over, it's kind of meant to be just to like throw it over your shoulders kind of a thing.
That's pretty. Ooh, I should just except
you
it's too hot.
I know. I'm like, here, wear this. But I'm also working, we're also doing a larger size. I say we because Deborah is knitting one right now. And I am also knitting one, I'll show you in just a minute, of the larger size. And so I'm actually sending that out to test knitters today, and I'm hoping it will be available in August, so that it will be available and people can enjoy it. And
I want to hear about the yarn you used.
so this is knit of hedgehog fibers, and this sample is knit in hedgehog fibers twist sock, although I don't think I would recommend the twist sock because it's a BFL base and it's a little bit scratchier, I think, for being up by your face. But it's a half pie shawl, and it's going to be fully charted and written instructions, and it's actually quite simple lace charts. They're very simple. It's meant to be one that you'll want to have had some lace knitting experience in order to, I think, take on this project. But if you have only done a little bit, I think you could still pick it up.
Mm-hmm.
You can speak more to that just based on your own experience. And
the pink here?
Yes, and it has the little contrasting border. This one is actually one that I hand dyed, but I was looking at, there's another hedgehog that's called, is it called Lush? I think it was called Lush. This is Heyday. No, this is Skinny Dip. And there's one that's very similar called Lush. It's a rosy pink color that I think would be gorgeous if you were going for these same color combinations. And the larger size has a separate section that's also contrast color right in this area here. And anyway, it's just so fun. I really enjoyed the
I love this.
It was very, isn't that fun?
It's like flower petals.
Yeah,
Like
it's definitely based on
right
a chevron kind of pattern. So actually, it's interesting. I love how it plays out. But this pattern here and this pattern here are very similar. Just where they're placed in the shawl gives them that different effect.
Yeah.
So it's really fun. Anyway, so this is called Sweet Summer Nights and should be available in August. And it's really exciting. So
good job, Emily.
it's fun.
Good job. Okay. Oh, I just snagged.
And you go ahead. You should show that.
Okay, I just snagged part of that. I'll have to work on that in a minute. So I'm working on knitting the next size larger. First of all, here's the yarns that I'm using. This one is Malabrigo. Just a minute.
Malabrigo
right
sock,
here.
I think.
It's Malabrigo sock in, I don't even know how to say most of these.
Probably aguas. Is that what it is? Yeah, like water.
Well, that would make perfect sense, wouldn't it? Because look at the color. Very pretty. And this yarn is a custom colorway by Amanda Makes, and it's called Meanwhile at the Castle. So I was at Emily's, this was on the 4th of July, and I brought over a big bin of yarn and asked her to help me put some together, and anyways, this is what we ended up with.
It's
and I
fun
really like
contrast
that.
because it pulls out that little bits of kind of tealy green.
Which I really love that color a lot.
It's so pretty.
A lot. Okay, so this is, because it's lace, it's all kind of scrunched up, and I just dropped a stitch.
Uh-oh.
Wait, come on, I can do it. Okay.
Yay.
Okay, so you hold that side.
Yep.
It's kind of hard to see with it all scrunched up. Right now, I'm on the lace section. See, I thought I could show it.
Yeah,
Here,
you're on
yours isn't scrunched
kind
up.
of the smaller, this section right here.
Yes, and there's 6 of those repeats, and I've got 3.5 of them
good.
done.
Yeah,
so after that will be another contrasting color that is inserted right here, a section here, and I'll be using this. And then I'll go back to the Meanwhile at the Castle colorway for the bottom part here, and then the teal contrasting color for the border. And so
that's so fun.
I wasn't sure if this yarn would work well because of the variegation in it. If you'd see the stitch
But I think
pattern.
if you're pulling it out, like if you show
once
it that,
it's blocked, and especially when I've been looking at it at home, right here with all of our busyness going on here, you don't see it as well. But I really like the color.
It's beautiful.
I love this yarn, so I really wanted to find something
I like
to
the
make
sparkle
with
in it too.
Yeah, there's a lot of gold stellina that really sparkles a lot.
Well, and it's fun too. I'm really glad that you're knitting this one because it's so different from what this
what
original sample is, and so
for.
It'll be a good way for people to see.
Yep.
Very different colors.
So my
That's
experience,
so fun.
I have knitted from charts very little, and the charts that I have used have not been repeating.
Mm-hmm.
Like I knit the Snowflake Hat by Susan B. Anderson that had a chart on there. That was a color work chart, so that was different. What did I use? I'm just trying to think. I've done a couple of them, but nothing on there was really repeating.
Or
okay, that's not true.
It repeated, like you knit the whole chart and then you knit it again and then you knit it again.
And so, so this was good because it's a different chart, a little bit more advanced than what I had begun with. I was doing very beginner. This is a step up from that, and Emily helped me to learn how to read a chart. So that made it simple. The only thing is that if you go to kickboxing classes, don't plan on knitting this.
While your kids are in kickboxing class?
I could not focus. I re-knit the same stinking like 6 rows for an hour and a half. Knit it, unknit it, unknit it, re-knit it. And when I came home, it was still wrong. So I was telling Emily, she's like, "What is wrong, Deborah? This is not that hard." I know, it's
Did I say it like that?
No, not quite, but not quite. You're like, "Deborah, it's not that big, that challenging of a pattern." I'm like, "You're right, it's not. It's just I need silence."
Oh man. All right. So I have one more finished object, and that is this pair of socks. And these are also a new design that I am going to be releasing in the next, hopefully, couple weeks. It's kind of hard to, I feel like they're kind of blowing out, but these are called the Candy Floss socks. My Candy Floss socks, and they have a little cabled rib cuff, and then a little dainty cable that runs down all the way down the leg and foot on opposite sides for each. So just one cable on each of the socks.
It's a different kind of cable. I like that.
Yeah, it's actually a very simple cable. It's just a 2-stitch cable. So it's the left stitch goes over the right stitch. And I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to do that without a cable needle. So it's very simple to do and just as easy as just knitting a rib stitch.
And what's the yarn?
And this is hand-dyed yarn of mine again
because
I can't stop. I just, I'm obsessed. So this one,
Here,
this pastel
closer.
sprinkly one,
That looks.
I dyed, and I've shown before. I dyed that a couple months ago actually, and then had just had it sitting. But then this pink one is a new one, and I'm so in love with it. You'll see another project out of this. So anyway, this is going to come in 2 sizes, and will be available in a couple weeks here. So that's pair number 9.
Pair number 9 and pattern number 3.
And pattern number 3.
Hey, go.
Nice.
I know.
I'm excited about that.
You're a real designer, Emily.
I don't know about when do you become a real designer? I don't know what that.
As soon as somebody else knit something you from a pattern you made.
Well, there you
That's
go.
what I say.
Okay, but what if it's your sister?
Millions of people have knit, not millions.
Millions.
Lots of people have
Tens of people.
Tens of people have knit your Scrappy Bias shawl.
That's true. That is so fun to see. Especially, we've already talked about that, but it's fun because most people have posted that as soon as they finished
one, they
they cast on another.
Yeah. That's what I did actually before I even finished that one. Started another. That's okay.
Oh, gracious.
Because you can never have too many of those on the go, can you?
No, I don't think you can. I personally don't think you can, no.
It's because that's a good project that is kind of the mindless knitting but keeps your interest.
Yeah.
And you can just take it on the go easily. And you can
I
use
agree.
whatever you have. So that's why I think that it's so fun.
Yeah, exactly.
All right.
That is
so
all my finished, that's all my finished objects.
Okay. Well, I already got into a work in progress there, but I'll show the next work in progress I've got here. Oh, I have to show this bag because I really like this bag. This is one of my Japanese knot
I love that one.
bags. I actually was making this for So Sweet Violet's, I just forgot what it's called because it's been a while, her bee make-along thing.
Yes, that one.
Exactly.
I don't remember what it was called either.
But by the time I actually did it, it had ended. That's okay, because now I have a cute bag.
It's
So,
really cute.
This yarn is by Sheepy Fibers, and it's called Lucky.
It's so fun.
And it's a green yarn with little blips of rainbow stripes to it, and I really like that one. So I'm knitting sock number 9 with this.
We've been killing it with the socks this year.
I know. I actually, after sock number 8, I was like, I think I'm done with socks for a little while. And then about 4 days later, cast this one on.
Yeah, it doesn't take very long.
So about 4 days. It's because I needed a project for on the go that was, kind of mindless. And that's what works better.
I know. They really are the best.
I
Socks
just
are the best.
finished a shawl, so we did a sock. Okay, so I'm using a different heel pattern than what I've done before. And to me, it seems, I haven't knit one, but I've looked at and kind of read over some of the pattern for a Flegel heel. It makes me think of that, but it is I don't even know what you'd call it. It's not a short row pattern, but I've knit the leg and then did a heel and a heel turn, and now I'm knitting the foot here, and the fit on it is really nice.
Do you remember the name
and
of the heel?
it is, no, there's not a name for the heel. It's from
the pattern it's from.
Lara Smoot Designs. She's Spinning
that's
Lara
right.
on Instagram. This is her Lartha sock pattern. I didn't do the patterned leg and foot. I was just using the heel pattern from it. And I really liked knitting this one because when you do a heel flap, you're like, okay, now I'm going to do the heel flap, then I'm going to do the heel turn, and then I'm going to pick up stitches, then I'm going to work on the gusset, and then your heel's complete.
Right.
This one, you're kind of doing the heel flap and gusset all in one, and the heel turn at the end is at the same time as you're knitting the foot. So it kind of, I don't know, it just seemed to be an easier process.
Did it seem faster?
It did seem faster or less. It didn't take as much brain work. So I liked that part of it. What I would be interested in trying to figure out is, because it's just stockinette stitch, is doing a slip stitch kind of pattern
to get that reinforced
Yes,
heel.
I would be interested in figuring out a slip stitch pattern for this, for if I were to knit it again in the future. So
that is one thing I really do like about the flap turn, I guess it is the reinforced, how you reinforce it.
Yeah, I definitely like to have a heel that's going to last. So anyways, sock number 9.
That being said, through the winter, I wear my wool socks like every day, my knitted socks. And I have yet to have any holes in any of my heels. But, I'm not like a super athletic person, if you can't tell. So I don't know if that would change if I was, if you were walking to work every day or things like that. Mine are just kind of around the house and my general.
We've already established, your daughter has already established that we are mostly sedentary. Wait, is that
what was it she said?
I think that's what she said.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, here, now we can see the
heel. I like that.
Heel construction better. Maybe.
You can kind of see the...
Oh, here's a little progress keeper from Vintage Fairy LLC.
I like that.
So maybe you can see it better on this side.
Yes, you can.
There you go.
That's interesting.
It's easy to knit.
That's cool.
All right.
Wonderful. Oh, I forgot to show. I really wanted to show this was my shawl pattern, by the way. That's in the process. All those pages of work.
Blood, sweat, and tears.
Yes. I don't think there was any blood.
Oh, it
summer.
wasn't the coop that required a blood sacrifice.
No.
Only if you were using Haya sharps that it required a blood sacrifice.
All right, works in progress, another one. So here is another one that I have. This is another sample of the Sweet Summer Nights shawl that I'm working on.
Perfect for what you're wearing. Wow.
I know, I kind of match almost like exactly,
yeah,
don't
that's
I?
lovely. I like it.
And so you can see where I am so far. I've just started into that same lace pattern that you're in right now. I'm not quite through with the first repeat. I think I have one row left in it or something. And so this is chart C is where I am right now. And so I knit this since yesterday at about
I was
noon.
just thinking
about 2. But you know, it's different because it's in my head so much, so I don't. I can just fly through it. I don't have to stop and refer to things.
I'm terrible at remembering lace patterns. Remembering just. I think I refer to it constantly.
Yeah, it changes once you start to like be able to picture it in your head, and you not only can you read your knitting, but you know what the purpose of that row is. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. And so then you can just read your knitting and naturally know what comes next. Plus, I'm, you know, the closer you are to the beginning of the pattern, the shorter the rows are.
Yeah.
And so you're to the point where you've got longer rows, but I think that looks really pretty in that pink. Oh,
it is.
And this is yarn that I dyed. So I wanted to show you that's the same one that I used on the candy floss socks. And this has probably got to be my favorite yarn that I've ever dyed is this one right here. It is just the softest, kind of a rosy pink tonal. I'm in love with it.
It's very pretty.
I'm in love with it.
What color Kool-Aid, or what flavor Kool-Aid?
I did not use Kool-Aid for this.
Oh, you used food coloring, didn't you?
I used food coloring, yes. I love dyeing with food coloring.
We should have a yarn dyeing challenge of some sort.
It's so fun. Dyeing with food coloring, you get to mix colors. You can speckle, not quite the same as with speckling with dry powders, acid dyes, but you can speckle, you can do tonals, you can kettle dye, you can do so much with it, and it's all non-toxic. Mm-hmm. So you can do it in your kitchen with your kids, with your stuff, and if you use citric acid, it doesn't fade. I mean, I have dyed some other things that I have washed repeatedly and had no fading, no bleeding. Mm-hmm. So I love it.
And if you use citric acid, it doesn't smell like vinegar.
It doesn't smell like vinegar. And you can buy it all at the grocery store. So anyway, I'm a huge fan of dyeing with food coloring, and that's one that I did.
Do you have a contrast color picked out for the rest of the shawl?
I'm going to do this one in one color. So I'm going to do the large size, but all one color.
Do you have multiple skeins of that?
Yeah.
See, right there. Lovely. Perfect.
Yep. So I have 2 skeins of this one, and I'm going to make this for Mom.
Oh, that'll be perfect.
Because this is Mom's color.
Yeah, that'll be perfect.
If you could describe Mom in a color, it would be this color.
That's the one.
So
is
I have to
Christmas?
show.
Are you starting early, or you just knitting?
Yeah, it'll probably be for Christmas. I also have to show because when I was dyeing that color, I did this one too.
Very pretty.
I love it so much.
Very pretty.
Oh my word, I just love it. Anyway, so pretty.
That's really fun.
I've gone through this. I love neons and I love really bright and I love speckles, but I'm kind of like feeling the tonals right now a lot. I'm really drawn to them. And then I'm going to show you what yarn I got in the last couple weeks, and you'll be like, oh yeah, I could tell you're drawn to those really soft tonals.
Yes. Well, if you're going to dye it yourself, typically I like to dye the tonals and some speckles. But if I'm going to buy somebody else's, it's usually a very
I want to see your art in your yarn. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. This is my last work in progress for now because I haven't worked on my Good Vibes shawl. I was working on Emily's shawl and put the other one aside for right now, which is okay. Anyways, this one is another sock, and the yarn is Plymouth Yarn Happy Feet 100 Splash.
I like that.
I do too.
I don't often find commercial yarns that have that kind of...
Yeah, they have 2, at least that I've seen. This one and a teal, very similar to this one that's kind of speckled. And so this is the label, and it's Plymouth Yarn Company. And I am trying out, I was going to knit these for my daughter and decided I better try it on my foot first because it seemed kind of complex. It's the Footy Socks by Miriam L. Felton. And my daughter wanted a pair of these, and then my husband saw it, and he says, well, I want some of those too. We all want some of these. Everybody in my family wants them.
Very interested in those.
So, I have knit. If you see the sock, you start at the toe and work your way up, and then you kind of end right here and start knitting the bottom and sides of the foot, and then you do the heel part. So I've knit the toe. It required a provisional cast on, which I've never done before. It was interesting construction. I don't think I would do that again on another pair of socks. I would just do a Judy's Magic cast on, or I can't remember what it's called, where you just wrap around the 2 needles. I like that one actually the best. Anyways, I would do that in the future and just do a traditional toe-up sock until you get to a certain length that she gives you a chart for. And I've done that, and then I'm working on the bottom and sides of the foot, and I'm now to the point where I need to add, this is really hard to show,
Yeah, but I can imagine.
where I need to add the heel. And then I believe you go and pick up some stitches for ribbing. So it's actually very fast. Once you've I was very hesitant to make this one because for knitting such a small sock, there are so many pages and all sorts, I'm not going to show you, all sorts, that's the flash, of charts with measurements and things to read, and I just thought, this seems really complex, and so I thought, well, I'm just going to sit down and try and figure it out, and I got my measurements and the charting all done, and then started with the first instructions, like I've got to learn how to do a provisional cast on, and then I finally figured out what they were trying to have me do. I couldn't quite get it, but now I see it's actually not that complex. It's just the measurements to help you get the perfect fit, but it's fun. I'll be done with this one rather quickly, I hope, and if it works well, then we'll make some for the rest of the family.
That's fun.
So that's my last.
What kind of provisional cast on did you use?
Where you use a crochet hook and you chain and then go pick up stitches in the chain. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's interesting.
I didn't know other types.
So many different, well, I think that there are some others. Like, one of the things you can do is just kind of cast on a knit a row and then break or use, with a scrap piece of yarn. And then you can just go knit onto that, because later you can go and unravel the scrap piece. But yeah, a lot of times when something calls for provisional cast on, I try and decipher it, because a lot of times I just would rather pick up stitches. But if you have to graft in at the end or something like that, then it's different. But
yeah, I don't want to give away what the pattern is having you do.
Sure, of course not.
Why you're doing it. So, I mean, I see why they're having you do it, but I personally would do a different method.
Yeah.
Knitting these in the future.
That makes sense.
Because I did not enjoy the process of that. And, I mean, following the tutorial, I still ended up with, I don't think you'll be able to see, but this row, maybe right here, it picked up not along the same line of stitches, so it's kind of like jogged over half a stitch.
I see what you're saying.
If that makes sense on there. And by doing that, it has these slightly larger gapes in between that, and that's at the toe, so that might stretch more when it's on.
That's interesting. Well, that's cool though. I'm interested to see how you finish up. My last work in progress is that I've started picking up on my sock yarn blanket again, my Cozy Memories. Although
I thought you were done.
I know, I kind of got to a point where I was like, okay, so without that little piece, it's like a baby blanket size. It's good. So I put it over the back of my chair. I left it. But then I decided I needed to add some more to it, so I picked it up again. But then it was so hot.
Yeah.
I would sit there with this on me and I'd have to have a fan blowing on me while I'm knitting on it, and so then I folded it and put it away again. So, I don't know. I did these 5 squares here, but the other problem is I have knit so many scrappy bias shawls. I'm running out of scraps. I really am. I'm running out of scraps. I need mini skeins again.
You just need to start knitting more things so you end up with scraps.
I had collected mini skeins for quite a while, and then, you know, I knit this, and then I gave you a few, and I've sent some to other people, and then I knit a bunch of
2 shawls,
two and a half scrappy bias shawls. And so anyway, as I was going through it, I do have mini skeins. It's just not the ones that I really want to put in my blanket. They're ones that are just not my colors, and somebody else would love them. So I think that what I would love if somebody else, if you specifically like earthy tones, more like fall colors, I have more of that. And so I'd love to find somebody to do a trade with, because I
like bright,
spring,
cheerful,
sherbet, bright colors.
Yeah.
And I have more fall colors. I don't have a ton, but I have enough that I could do a trade with maybe 1 or 2 people. So if anybody's interested in that, let me know, and I'd love to do a trade with you. And that's all that I've got going on. I haven't even touched my Flowers for Yvonne shawl.
I was going to ask about that.
It's still sitting with the applied lace border is halfway done, and that's where it sits for right now. And that halfway done was probably, I don't know, it was lots of hours of knitting. So I've got lots of hours of knitting left to go. But I really wanted to, you know, these design projects were clamoring for my attention, so I decided to spend time on them.
So when I first picked up knitting last year, I was a very, very much a monogamous knitter. Knit one thing, start to finish. And I'd be really excited to finish it because that meant I could start another one. And then one day I thought, well, you know, I could have a shawl or something and some socks. So I did that, and then I went, well, you know, I could have 2 pairs of socks going, and next thing you know, I've got 3 blankets, and I've got 2 socks and 3 shawls, the sweater and the doll project, and
welcome to my
how did this get so out of control?
I have actually started to clean up a little bit, because I had, you know, 3 different socks and a sweater and 2 shawls and a blanket all going at this, well, 3 shawls and a blanket going at the same time. But now I'm down to the blanket and the shawl. Well, 2 shawls. Blanket and 2 shawls.
Good job.
But I'm about to cast on another pair of socks.
Well, and then I saw the Wonder Woman shawl.
Oh, I know!
I almost dyed yarn to go do that one, because reds and yellows I feel like are really hard to find what I want.
What you want.
And then I thought, no.
Could I do mine in pink?
I saw her, she had knit several different, or just actually I think online edited her shawl to be in different colorways to show, you know, different versions of it. You don't have to have
red and gold. I love the red and gold. It's just not really, those aren't my colors.
Well, red is mine, gold not so much, but it's Wonder Woman. Come on.
I know, I love Wonder Woman.
I would be fighting over my girls to wear it, I'm sure.
Probably.
They would all want to wear it. But then I was like, okay, I already have 3 shawls going, and one for Emily that I was like, I really wanted to get this one moving quickly, and then I had to put it down for a week, and so I wanted to get that one done quickly. So that's
I even
think
have
the next one I'm gonna
some
do.
Undyed yarn sitting there waiting for me. I could dye yarn and have the yarn right now.
Let's have a
today.
Okay.
Don't, if you say let's get together and do this, I'm gonna be like,
not
yeah,
that.
I can't do that.
Let's not get together. Let's have a dye-along.
I think that would be so fun.
Okay, we're just coming up with this on the fly.
I think we should do it.
Okay, because we had some other things planned that we missed because it was busy, so we didn't do that. But I think we should have a dye-along. I don't know what that's going to entail, but dye some yarn. Take pictures of it.
We're gonna have to figure out what we're gonna do with it.
It's just simple. Just dye some yarn and post pictures and tell how you dyed it on our Ravelry.
Yeah, like share what dyes you used, what mordant, if you used citric acid or vinegar or whatever.
Maybe what kind of method?
What was your method, and did you like your results?
Yeah, that would be really fun. We're just gonna do that. Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna have to do some prizes for this too.
We'll have to talk about that.
Okay, we're gonna have prizes. We don't know what they are yet, but we're gonna come up with something cool.
All right. There we go. Dye-along.
Yay! That makes me so excited.
Because I have some to work on, and my daughter was going to do some with me, and you're going to do some.
Yeah.
So
the thing about it is, seriously, don't be afraid of it, because the great thing about it is if you dye your yarn and you don't like it, chances are you can over dye it, re-dye it. You know, you can add to it. So
also the chances are you may not like it right then. Go put it in your stash, wait for a month, and then go back and look at it, and you'll be like, this is really pretty yarn.
I wonder what this. Oh wait, that's the one I dyed.
Exactly, I did that. Exactly. Same thing.
So it's really fun. There's a lot of great online tutorials. When we post the dye along thread, we can post some links to a few tutorials as well that we have liked. But then you can just experiment. I mean, really what you need is yarn, dye, mordant, and a heat source.
And you can get undyed yarn easily from Knit Picks. You can also even go to your local craft store. I know that Michael's and Joanne carries a natural undyed wool, 100% wool.
Fisherman's wool.
I don't remember. I know that there's one brand. It is not a superwash. Actually, they do have a superwash one I've seen there. But,
oh, really?
I saw it at Joanne. Yeah, not Michael's.
So it may not be like your favorite yarn in the world, but it would be really fun to
try out. So I mean, there's lots of places that you can get it, but those are some 2 easy sources.
Sure. You can also look on Etsy and find undyed yarns there. So that would be really fun. I love that idea.
I think we're just going to keep that open for a long time.
We'll just do that. And we can just periodically pull a prize from there. I think that sounds a great idea. I am excited to see people's pictures and learn. Okay.
All right. We're going to move into some kind people.
Yes.
Some sweet, wonderful, kind-hearted people that have sent things into us that we wanted to share.
Yes. So I have a couple that I want to show. So the first one, I'm so in love with this. So in our Heroic Youth program, our youth that we do, in the spring, in March, we get to interview all of the teenagers who want to participate in our program. And I met a cute girl named Abby who we did the interviews at my house, and she had been sitting in the family room kind of waiting, and I have a lot of my knitting stuff down there, and she had noticed that I was a knitter. And so when we were interviewing her, she happened to bring that up, that I see that you were a knitter, or, I'm guessing. And so we talked about some of the things that she really likes to do, and she likes to knit, and she crochets, and she writes music, and she does pottery. And I was like, you knit and you do pottery? Have you ever made yarn bowls? And anyway, we just kind of chatted for a minute. She said she hadn't, but she knew what I was talking about. And anyway, and I told her good luck, and that was it. Well, at our most recent event this last Saturday, she brought me a gift, and this is what she made for me. She threw the bowl on her wheel, and then she put this little cat on it. And so it's the cat playing with the yarn, and it is just so pretty. It has a beautiful speckly finish in it.
That is really sweet.
I think I may have squealed. Like, I was so excited. I have wanted a yarn bowl. I have never, invested in one, and I love it. And how much better is it that it's one of our Heroic Youth kids? So, like, that is the most thoughtful thing I think anybody has ever made for, well, I've received some very thoughtful gifts, so I don't know if I could qualify it that far, but it's got her little names in the bottom. It says Abby on it, and I love it so much.
That was really
Isn't that adorable?
That
with
really
that little cat. So she's like
very talented.
13 or 14 years old.
Really?
And she made this for me, and I love it so much. So thank you, Abby. She won't see this most likely, but I just love it. That was such a sweet, sweet gift.
All right. I did a swap with just the sweetest lady. She's on Instagram. It's Lori, Hen and Her Chicks. Is it a hen or the hen? Hen and Her Chicks. Anyway, she has beautiful art that she does, these canvases that she sells on Instagram and on Etsy. And I'd been looking at those and drooling over them for a long time. And then we ended up doing a swap together, and she sent me one. I really did not expect that she would send me.
That is beautiful.
So, let's see. It is so lovely. It's in acrylics, and I love the textures that are on here. And there's gold around the edges, and it's perfect. Absolutely perfect.
The texture is beautiful. You can't really see that.
Yeah, there's
it's
just
beautiful texture.
Bits. I know. I'm just like, can you see it if I...
Kind of, a little bit. It almost looks embossed, but
Yeah.
it's just the texture of the paint.
It's beautiful. And so many layers to this. There's so much detail. So we were doing kind of a craft swap. We didn't really have a theme. It's just do your thing. Make what you want to make that you think the other person would really like. And she went above and beyond. So she made that. And then she sent me this beautiful art journal. And she had hand painted this one as well. And inside are just a ton of really fun elements with different pockets and flaps and tags, things that come in and out. Some more, let's see, little cards. There's another bit of art that she had painted here. Oh, I love it.
That is beautiful.
It was just so sweet. And then she sent me some hand-dyed soaps because she makes soaps as well.
Handmade soaps?
Yeah. Well, you know, it does have color in it. Handmade soap. And it was so cute, but I didn't bring that up. It's curing right now. And it's really cute. It had little mini cupcakes in the top.
Oh,
just little like soap cupcakes that were so cute. But that was just so sweet. And I was telling her, I don't know if I would dare put anything in this because I would ruin it.
It's so
I'm gonna be
fun.
brave and put some of my own work on that in here.
How fun.
So.
I love learning about everybody's talents and abilities. All right, so was it last week? I think it was last week. Kate McMullen of McMullen Fiber Company messaged me, or no, I think she just tagged me, and she said, if you think that this yarn that she had just released was inspired by you, it was. She had she had dyed this colorway, which is called Electric Rainbow.
Perfect.
Based on my Instagram feed and all the colors that I always love. And yes, it is so perfectly my colors. And then she sent me a free skein, and she's the sweetest thing. I love this. It's going to be a treasured project, and I'm not quite sure which one yet. Oh, I love it so much. There's some really bright yellows there. You've got the kind of minty.
I love this section.
Blues, greens, yes.
Right here,
and then you've
where
got
all
all
the
the
colors blend.
Oh, I love that. And right again up here
The
in
yellow.
this. And then you've got the softer yellows. Oh, I love it so much. Electric Rainbow. Yes, that's kind of like what I want to, the colors that I always love.
Yeah, that's
so fun.
That's absolutely perfect for you.
So
she
thank you,
captured
Kate.
that
I
perfect.
love it. Her colors are so pretty. You have to go check them out.
Yeah, at the same time, she sent me this beautiful blue skein of yarn. But what was really sweet about this is that she sent it so I could knit something for my daughter who can see blue now. She said that her daughter's favorite color is blue, and so she dyed this for her daughter and thought that I should make something for my daughter with it.
So awesome.
That made me cry, actually.
So
It's
thoughtful.
like, yeah, McMullen Fiber Company. This one's called All Blues. Oh, this one is just
And that's
so
a
fun. And this is a
singles,
singles.
isn't it?
I love singles.
I do too.
Yeah.
I love singles for shawls especially.
I think my daughter would
I
really like a
love
cowl.
them.
She would like something like that.
yeah,
Just really
that'd be nice.
cozy. I think she would really like a cowl. So I think that's what I'm going to do for
I
the
think
winter
it's a
time.
great idea.
So thank
Maybe I'll
you.
do a cowl
Thank
out of
you.
this one. I've never made myself a cowl.
I know you knit me a like little capelet.
Shawl, yeah.
But I wear it pretty much as a cowl.
Yeah, I really like that.
like it. I like it as that. So,
I've never knit myself a cowl, but I can totally see myself wearing this around my neck.
yeah, that would be perfect.
I really can.
That would be really
I love that idea. That's a brilliant plan.
Sweet people.
So, I have one more thing, but I'm not going to be able to show it to you, so I'm going to have Deborah insert a picture.
Oh, okay.
But one of my other kids that I've mentored, he's not my kid,
Oh, yeah.
but he's not my child, but I think of him that way. I have mentored him over the years. I've done voice lessons for him as well as worked with him through Heroic Youth. And he's a good friend of mine. His name is Cam. And he's no longer a child, but
No.
I still think of him that way. He's all grown up now. But he is
I
an
love hearing that you
amazing...
think of him as a child still.
Well, I call the 24-year-olds kids too. They're my kids still.
Yeah.
Anyway, he is an amazing artist, and he does sketches, and he does a lot of, I don't even know.
I'm not gonna know.
He does a lot of digital art as well, and I don't know all the terminology for that. But he does a daily art project where he posts one of his projects every day on Instagram, and it's amazing. So anyway, Cam made a picture of my husband and I as King Richard and Queen Emily from our Heroic Youth programs, and it's perfect.
It is perfect.
It's like if we were superheroes in a I don't know. I don't want to say comic strip because it's way cooler than a comic strip look, but anyway, if we were animated superheroes, this is who we would be. Yeah. And so we're going to insert that picture here, but I love that, Cam. So fun.
That was really, really sweet.
Yes, very sweet.
All right, it's time for us to move on. We have a short Snippets from the Past segment.
Yes, it is going to be a little short today, but it's inspired by our friends, the Nielsen's, who we talked about that had their fire. Krista, one of the few things that they were able to pull out of their house was this lace project, and it was something that her grandmother had knit for them for their crocheted. Excuse me, it's filet crochet. She had crocheted it for them for their wedding, and it just has their name, Nielsen, in it. And they had this in a frame in their living room. It was not burned, but the frame was broken and it was severely smoke damaged. So I actually have a picture of what it looked like after the first couple of washes that I did. But what we wanted to talk about was restoration of heirlooms. And it's not necessarily something that I can speak to as far as saying that I'm an expert in it by any stretch of the imagination, just that I'm currently having this experience. She had asked if I had any ideas, mostly to take the smell out. We knew we wouldn't get it back to white. It was actually white, not ecru when it began. And we knew we probably wouldn't get it back to white, and that we were okay with that, but we wanted to, it smelled horrible as we were talking about campfires. This was so much worse than that. And so I have put this through a few very gentle processes so far, and it still feels rather crispy. It's mercerized cotton, and it feels like it's been starched, but it hasn't. It's just the smoke damage, so you have to be very gentle with it. It looks so much better than it did when it started. It's kind of hard for you to tell right here, but it's much darker at the top than it is at the bottom. And there's some graying that I haven't been able to get rid of. Some places along in this lace edge and kind of across this end that aren't, again, really showing up, but I can see them, where it's got a lot of graying in it. I may stop here because I actually feel like the last wash I did took it a step in the reverse direction, and so I'm probably going to stop here. And because it's going to be
more brittle now,
right? I want to be very careful with it because it's one of the few things they've been able to salvage, so it becomes infinitely more precious.
And her grandmother is no longer with them, and her grandmother couldn't finish making these for all of the grandchildren that she had wanted, so Krista just felt like it was really a blessing that she. I think hers was the last, or one of the last ones that her grandmother had made.
So the good thing is, what I've done so far, I started out with just a cool water soak to try, because there was some debris from, it was on a flocked mat.
Okay.
And that mat, because of the smoke damage, had stuck to it. And so I just soaked that so I could get it off, and then very gently with my fingers kind of brushed it off, and it came off with a soak. And then I let it dry. But it was very, very dark still and smelled horrible still. So my second thing that I tried was baking soda and a little bit of vinegar. But again, I wanted to be very careful. I was just kind of...
Well, also trying to preserve the pH balance, because if you use only vinegar or only baking soda, then you make it more acidic or more alkaline, and you want to keep it balanced.
So that did lighten it up quite a bit. That was probably where the most dramatic change happened, was with the baking soda and vinegar. At that point, I kind of stopped for a little bit, and I wanted to do some more research. I actually reached out on Instagram and found a couple of people who have some experience with this, who said that they could put me in touch with somebody who is actually a conservator of like antique fabrics and so on. I have not yet reached out to them yet because I want to, it's not mine. This doesn't belong to me. And so I feel like I need to, refer to the Nielsen's and see what they would like to do. But the baking soda and vinegar did lessen the smell quite a bit, but it still didn't remove it. I was surprised. I really thought that would take out the smell, but it really didn't. And so this was the third wash that I did was I just used a little bit of one of my wool washes because they're so gentle, and I diluted it quite a bit, but then I let it soak for a good amount of time, and that took the smell out. I was really surprised that the vinegar and baking soda didn't, but the wool wash did.
What wool wash did you use?
There's still a tiny bit there. I used one of I had a little packet. Well, it wasn't soak. It was Eucalyptus. Eucalyptus?
I'm not sure how you say it.
I can never say that.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was the unscented version. Anyway, and then the most recent wash that I did, what did I do? I'm trying to remember what the most recent one was. I think I just did a soak again. Yeah, I just did another soak. I did a slightly warmer water. And I don't know if I feel like maybe what's happened is I took a little bit more of the yellow out, and so it revealed the gray more.
Okay.
Because I just started seeing the gray more. So anyway, I'm stopping here for right now. There's a tiniest hint of smoky smell to it, but I mean, you'd have to really look for it.
Really, in the end, this will need to be reframed.
It will need to be reframed.
Mounted and reframed and hung out of the sunlight.
Yes.
Which, because it was in a frame, that's
why it survived. Otherwise, it would have been burned because the room that it was in was very burned.
Yeah. And so to really preserve this, again, long term, it would need to be somewhere where it's not being touched and not handled and not in the elements with dust and everything. But
it's very interesting to learn about this because it's made me think about this project that I have, or this item. This is the blessing dress, or it would be similar to a christening for another religion, that I made for my youngest daughter, and it's crocheted as well. And there are some areas that have some significant yellowing in them. I don't know if
it's hard to see with the liner down. Just a minute.
Yeah, if you have the liner up in there, you can kind of see. Anyway, there's some areas that have some significant yellowing in them, and the whole thing is quite a bit more yellow. There was all right here around. Yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but there's some yellowing. And so anyway, it just made me think, I really want to find out how to preserve this now before it gets worse, because it was my last baby, and I designed this and crocheted it for her while she was tiny. It actually is tinier than it might. This fit her when she was a big baby. She was 10 pounds 2 ounces when she was born, but it fit her when she was a month and a half old. So I guess 3 months size. She was a big baby. But anyway, it was so pretty, and I really want to preserve it.
And you designed this?
I designed it and crocheted it.
Yeah.
Which was I don't do that when you have a tiny baby, because that was really stressful. I remember I'm like, I have to get it done, and going to mom's and mom watching my kids so I could just sit and madly crochet so I could finish it.
Well, and that's the thing. We work so hard to make all of these items, but it's important that we care for them properly.
Right.
And so we'll be working on gathering more information to share with you on how to properly clean or repair and preserve some of your really special items. So
yes,
that we'll have some more of that coming up.
That's the thing. I mean, when you really love it, and those of us who are makers, we understand the significance of something like this and how precious that is. And so I'm really excited to learn more about that.
Yeah. Well, and also one other thing, some people had been recommending, I've seen on some other people have asked about some of this same type of thing. They've recommended like OxyClean and things that were chemicals, or I would not try that on something as precious as this.
And actually, one of the people I talked to, actually Beth, if I can remember, you remember, Beth is one of our members of our knitting group, our knit night.
Yeah,
but she has, I can't remember who it was that she reached out to, but somebody who does conservation of these things, and they said don't use those. If you use any of those like OxyClean type products, it can actually drive the dirt deeper into the fibers instead of lifting it. It can actually open them up and the dirt go down in more, making it irreversible to do that. And so I hadn't noticed that yellowed spot. There's a really yellow speckle right there. But anyway.
I think the most important thing in the end is not necessarily for this to be bright and white and, but for it to be mounted properly on acid-free materials.
To be hail.
And to what?
Hail, like hardy, whole.
Oh.
So it can last from here.
Exactly. So to preserve it from any further damage.
And in many ways, there's something very significant to the fact that this has been through a fire. I mean, that is going to actually add to the story of this piece. But we want this to be available for their children.
Yes.
Not just for Krista and Joseph, but for their children to be able to have as well.
All right. That's lovely. That is really, I'm so thankful. That and one other family heirloom survived, a bench that's in need of restoration now, that they had on their front porch that was made, hand carved by his father. This is her grandmother. So they had one from each side of the family. His father had carved them a bench, and it was on the front of their house, and it was preserved because there was brick up against, and it shielded it from the flames.
Yeah.
So they have something from each side of the family. So that is really nice.
Oh, it just makes you think so much about yourself and your...
I keep thinking, what would be the most important thing for me to preserve if I had the option, or you think about that, if I could go back in for one thing, what would it be? And I really thought about that really long and hard, and I think just the most important thing to me, obviously besides our family members, for the memories, is pictures. Pictures are really important because everything else, you can at least see it and remember it that way. I'm thinking of my wedding. I don't have any decent pictures of my wedding or my first child's birth for her first 6 months, or 6 weeks, and that's what I miss the most. I mean, I have other items to hold on to, but what I would treasure the most are good pictures of that, and that's what I would treasure the most. So that's what I personally would want.
I don't even know.
I think everything else, it's things. People matter most.
They do.
And we have the memories. What can we do to preserve the memories
right.
of what we're doing? I mean, why this is important is not this item.
No, it's
but what it represents. Yeah. And so that's what we're trying to preserve, is what it represents. What that relationship is.
The interesting thing for me is, as I go through it, I mean, there's a lot of things that I think, I would be so sad if I lost that. But then if I really think of the big picture, even... when Abby, my youngest, when she was a baby, we had kind of switched finally over to everything digital on our pictures, and I had a computer that the hard drive failed completely, that wasn't backed up, and I lost all my baby pictures of her, except for a couple that had been taken by our friend Tamara, who is an amazing photographer, and she had copies of them. And so I had for those beautiful professional photos done, but all of the snapshots of her and everything, those were pretty much all gone. And that is sad, but it's like I guess I've come to the point where I thought, I believe in heaven, I believe in God, and I believe that there will be time where everything will be restored, including our memories. And so we'll be able to picture with perfect clarity. Yeah. So I got to this point where I just had to rely on that and go, okay, well, I'll remember it perfectly someday.
Well, even with that, we have an abundance of pictures.
We do, yeah.
More than we need. I want to know how often you actually go back and look at all of the millions of pictures, even before the digital age.
I know.
I mean, when I was taking 1 million photographs, I mean, I have so few pictures, if I want to say, of me as a child, but it's enough.
Yeah.
To give me a whole picture of me. And as I've been watching who do you think you are? A lot of
I
times
love
they're
that
like,
show.
I have this one picture, and it's precious to them, but that's all they need. You know, they didn't need to have an entire
17
book of
scrapbooks.
17 scrapbooks, and here is age 0 months to 3 months, and it's an
Those
entire
are fun,
book.
though.
They
Yeah.
are fun, but
Yeah.
we have an abundance, so I
Sure.
don't know that I need all of them. But
I know.
they are precious to me.
They
still.
are. Well, and that for me, it's like the quilt that my aunts and my grandma made for my wedding, and you know, that's something for my baby, and you know, those handmade things are always the things. But at the same time, if there's a fire, I'm grabbing my kids and I'm getting out.
Yeah.
And I will miss them, but I'll be okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway.
All right. Well, that's our end today.
I know.
Okay.
I'm excited about our what are we calling it? A dialogue? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna have a dialogue.
So when you talk about how it's
make sure
really
you
fun
put
to
the
die,
Y in there.
DUI. I know. We're always talking with just ourselves talking about dying, and I just love it, and people are like, what is wrong with you?
I know.
Joe?
I died today. I know that's a dumb old pun, but it makes me giggle every time. Morbid. I'm morbid. We've established
So
this.
on the show Ice Age, I don't know if it's the first one or the second one, where he's like, but did you die? And he says, sadly, yes. But I lived! And we say that all the time in our family.
Did you die? Yes. But I lived. That's
And
great.
our grandpa's story.
Okay.
Okay,
That's the
along
best
with the
story.
dialogue. Okay, here we're going to end with this story and then say goodbye. You have
Okay.
to tell the story. You're good at it.
So when we were small children, my grandpa would gather us around and he'd say, okay, I'm going to tell you a story. And he'd sit us down and he would tell us about his experience when he was a Navy corpsman in the Korean War, and how one of the jobs they had was to go out and chart little islands that were maybe not on their charts already. So he, as the corpsman, went with a group to go onto this little island so they could survey it and put it on the chart. And he's describing, you know, what the process was to us as children, and he said, but then they realized as they were surveying it that the island was actually shrinking, and it was a tiny one to start with, but it was shrinking. It was sinking into the ocean, and so they're scrambling and they're running for the boats and trying to get back on the boat to get back to their ship, to the carrier that they were on, and to make sure that, you know, they all got safe. But he was slowest. He wasn't as fast as everybody else, and they're running and running to get on the boat. And finally, you know, most of them are on the boat, and there's only a few little tiny bit of this island left. And then finally, do you know what happened? I died. And then all of us as kids, we just pause for a second in the
Think
row.
about it.
Grandpa!
And then Grandma comes in.
Albert!
What are you telling those kids?
What are you telling those children? That's the best thing about grandpas, is they can tell you stories like that. So we'll leave you with that story.
So long. Until next time.
Yes, we'll
Dice
see
and
you
yarn.
soon. Bye-bye.
Bye.